कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे कृष्णा माताजी. Is anybody wants to do kirtan? Padma Mataji, Sudha Mataji, Suma Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Padma Mataji or Sudha Mataji, if you want to start a kirtan, please.
My throat is not, Mataji,
Sudha
after I got
Mataji.
Sudha Mataji.
Mataji, I have actually busy little bit here with the work.
Okay, Mataji, I'll
Okay,
sing.
no problem.
Sorry.
Suma Mataji.
Sorry,
No
Mataji.
problem.
Sorry.
No problem.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatadini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Rama Rama Hare Hare Bhaj Shri Krishna Krishna Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। सर्वत्र गोविंद नाम संकीर्तन। हरे कृष्ण। Thank you, Mataji. Anybody wants to start Kirtan? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any other Matajis or Prabhujis?
Hare Krishna. Mataji, you only continue.
Hare Krishna.
The speaker has not joined.
Mataji,
Hare
you please
Krishna.
stop me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Suma Mataji, your voice wasn't audible much. It was very,
Oh.
very faint.
I'm
So if
very
you could
sorry.
have your, no problem. If you could
Okay.
have your mic closer.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes. Now it is
okay.
perfect. Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The speaker has not joined.
Okay, Mataji, you please stop me, Mataji. Hare
No,
Krishna.
but I am not aware if the speaker has joined or not.
Mataji, he is not joined, Mataji. Ashok Gaur Prabhuji is the speaker today.
Ashok Gaur
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Meenakshi
Mataji.
Mataji, you can start the Kirtan. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
If you
Meenakshi
are
Mataji.
able.
Okay,
please do.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you
Krishna.
so much. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodhanandana Brajajana Nandana Yashodhanandana Brajajana Nandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Madhava
Prabhuji has
Kunja
joined.
Bihari. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Pranams.
Anod Pranam. Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam, Prabhu. Welcome you on ICF Forum, Prabhu. It is great to have you today.
Thank you, Mataji.
Awaiting
Hare
your
Krishna, Prabhu.
association.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu,
Hare
you
Krishna, Prabhu.
want me
Dandavat.
to share the screen, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
You can share the screen, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. From Shloka 40 to 45, Prabhuji.
41.
Chapter 20.
Yeah, 41 to 45. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, I'll do so. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtiki. So we are reading from Canto 3, chapter 23, text 41. So, 1 second. 323 and 41. Okay, yeah. Bhrajishnuna vimanena kamagena mahiyasa vaimanikan atyasheta charallokan yatha nilaha. Bhrajishnuna vimanena कामगेना महीयसा वैमानिकान् अत्यशेत चरल्लोकान् यथा निलः भ्राजिष्णुना विमानेन कामगेन महीयसा वैमानिकान् अत्यशेत चरल्लोकान् यथा निलः. Right. Somebody can read the translation and purport.
Shobha Mataji, Hare Krishna, you can read the translation. And Vasudha Mataji, you can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. He travelled in that way through the various planets as the air passes uncontrolled in every direction, coursing through the air in that great and splendid aerial mansion which could fly at his will. He surpassed even the demigods. Should I read the purport, Mataji?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Vasudha Mataji can read the purport, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Vasudha
Thank you.
Mataji.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Can you scroll? Thank you. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The planets occupied by the demigods are restricted to their own orbits, but Kardama Muni, by his yogic power, could travel all over the different directions of the universe without restriction. The living entities who are within the universe are called conditioned souls. That is, they are not free to move everywhere. We are inhabitants of this earthly globe. We cannot move freely to other planets. In the modern age, man is trying to go to other planets, but so far he has been unsuccessful. It is not possible to travel any other planets because by the laws of nature, even the demigods cannot move from one planet to another. But Kardama Muni, by his yogic power, could surpass the strength of the demigods and travel in space in all directions. The comparison here is very suitable. The words Yata, Anila indicate that as the air is free to move anywhere without restriction, so Kardama Muni unrestrictedly traveled in all the direction of the universe. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So it is said here, Bhrajishnuna Vimanena, excellent airplane. So it is Bhrajishnuna Vimanena. Kamagena Mahiyasa. So wherever they desired, okay, let me think, let me go to that Loka mountain, or maybe let me go to this Dhruva Loka planet. Simply by thinking, that is Kamagena Mahiyasa. So simply by thinking, the plane was moving. And then Vaimanikan Atyasheta. So it surpassed those of the demigods also. Demigods also have airplanes where, it is driven by mantras or their desires. But this surpassed even their airplanes. It was a super duper. It is like next to Vaikuntha airplane, something like that. So this is what Kardama Muni created. And Charallokan Yathanilaha. Just like air goes wherever it wants, simply by thinking wherever they wanted to go, the plane was moving. So this is a very beautiful chapter, shows the yogic power of Kardama Rishi, how he was able to please and satisfy his dear wife Devahuti. They are the best couples, and they both perfectly followed the Varnashrama dharma. So not only Varnashrama dharma, but also the four purusharthas like dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So Devahuti and Kardama, they followed this process of dharma, and then artha, then kama, and the moksha very perfectly. For example, Kardama Muni was not he was not some rich guy or some some CEO of some company that he made billions of dollars and then he created an airplane. No, he was engaged 24 hours in devotional service. He was not even like, sadhaka where, he's chanting 16 rounds and then he's going to his office and working hard till midnight and then making money and then making aeroplane and then, enjoying. No. All that he did was only dharma. He followed the process of dharma. He simply engaged in devotional service of life. It is as simple as that. So, simply by practicing devotional service, one can attain artha, kama, and moksha also. You don't have to separately endeavor for artha. We do not earn money or we do not enjoy just because we are working hard day and night. No, it does not work like that. According to our dharma, how much we have practiced the Vedic culture or how much we have practiced a devotional service, accordingly we are rewarded in artha and kama. He didn't accumulate wealth to create an aeroplane like this. And he did not make plans to enjoy with his wife. It followed automatically because of his dharma, because he was engaged in devotional service of the Lord. Simply by engaging in devotional service of the Lord appeared to him, blessed him, and then he said, "You will soon receive a wife. She will be the most beautiful, and you will also beget me as your son." Everything was blessed. He didn't have to go and, accumulate money. He didn't have to, plan for his enjoyment. No, everything happened. So that shows, this is a proof that we don't have to endeavor separately for artha and kama. They automatically come because the Lord always wants to reward his devotees who are always engaged in this devotional service. This is the proof. Now somebody may ask a question, how come, there are so many Westerners, who are in, billionaires who have big companies and they are owners of big companies. They don't have any dharma. They are not following any dharma. How is that, they have earned so much money? How they are rich? How they are enjoying? The only answer is piety of some past life. We have lived millions of lifetimes. In some lifetime, some piety is producing some result of artha and kama. That's it. There is no other answer. And now the sinful activities which are being performed will have its own reactions in the future lifetime. It is as simple as that. There is nothing shocking here. We don't have to be shocked. We don't have to, become confused. It is very clear. Bhagavatam is very clear. Dharma produces artha, kama, moksha. So, simply by engaging in devotional service and not doing anything also is more than sufficient. Kulashekar Alvar, he says in Mukundamala Stotra, Nasta dharme navasunichaye naiva kamopabhoge yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanu rupam. He says, Nasta dharme na vasu nichaye naiva kamopabhoge. Vasu means wealth. Kama means, enjoyment, sense enjoyment. So, dharma, artha, kama, I do not want to endeavor for these things. Why? Yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanu rupam. According to my previous karma, according to my previous dharma and adharmic activities, it is already predestined. Simply by working hard day and night, I am not going to become rich or I'm not going to enjoy my senses. No, it will not happen like that. Somebody may be working hard the whole life and he may not enjoy. Someone does not do anything. He does nothing, but he is only simply enjoying his senses and he is also enjoying wealth. That's because of Purva Karma. So, the Shastra, the scriptures tell us how dharma is the most important thing. And the best dharma is savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahai tukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. So, paro dharma is the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. That's very important. So, but we may also question, I cannot give up, working hard just like the way Kardama Muni did. We may have some question like that. Yes, we cannot imitate. We are sadhakas. We are trying to balance both, we are doing our karmas, duties, prescribed duties, and we are also practicing devotional service of chanting, reading, hearing, everything. So this is a gradual phase. Nobody can jump. Nobody can imitate great souls. When we try to imitate great souls, then we are burnt. Teji asam na doshaya. So the great souls, we cannot imitate them, or else will be destroyed. So what we can do is we can aim for that. We can aspire for that. But we should also be aware that it is only dharma which is sufficient to take care of our artha and kama. And obviously, moksha will follow anyway. So in Bhagavatam, it is also mentioned, Nehayat karma dharmaya na viragaya chakalpate na tirtha pada sevyaya jivan api mrito hi saha. So the meaning of that is, Nehayat karma dharmaya. If your karma, if you're, say you're working for a company, or working for some Infosys or IT or Microsoft or somebody, so, nehayat karma dharmaya. If that work does not culminate into dharma, how do we culminate that into dharma? Utilizing the result of our working hard, the money, in the service of devotional service, in the service of the Lord, in the service of the Vaishnavas, for propagating Krishna consciousness movement, for maintaining family to sustain their Krishna consciousness. So, nehayat karma dharmaya. Na viragaya cha kalpate. And if that dharma does not help you to develop viraga, that is vairagya, that is detachment from this world, and na tirtha pada sevyaya, and that detachment, if it does not help you to develop pure devotional service at the lotus feet of the Lord, tirtha pada sevyaya, then jivan api mrito hi saha. Then we are as good as a dead, although living. Because our working hard is only creating karmic bondage, and we are bound up in karma granthi. So that is why nehayat karma dharmaya na viragaya chakalpate na tirth pad sevyaya jivanapi mritohasa. That is why dharma is important. By practicing devotional service, if you are not doing anything in life, you are absolutely perfect. There is no problem at all. But if you are able to do something, it is great, good, you are able to do. But we can never criticize someone who is not doing anything but only engaged in devotional service, because he is also perfectly situated, because his artha and kama is all automatically taken care. So Kardama Muni didn't earn his aeroplane. He simply created it out of his mystic power, because he was a pure devotee of the Lord and he could easily create it. So nothing is impossible for a pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord actually automatically provides everything for a devotee. I think in the next verse somewhere it is mentioned that nothing is impossible for a pure devotee of the Lord. Everything is actually taken care by the Lord. He can attain anything, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and by his yogic power, it is mentioned that Bhrajishnuna Vimanena, that Vimana was amazing. It is said in the previous verses, it is seven-storied white marble with golden domes. Isn't it amazing? With golden domes like this. And like you may have some faint idea about, Kremlin. Kremlin is in, Russia, in Moscow. Like that, faint idea how this was pure white marble domes, beautiful domes, and not one storied, but seven storied, multiple, domes of beautiful white marble palace. And mind you, it is a moving palace, beautiful moving palace. And this palace was, bedecked with emeralds, rubies, sapphires, coral daisies, diamonds, all the navaratnas, all the navaratnas are actually, they were embedded within the doors and windows. And, all the furnitures were made out of ivory, with, gold lining. This is how it was. And it is said, the balconies had complete ventilation, not like the way we build, where we put all this grill and metal grill, and then we put pigeon net and all that crap, because this is our situation. These balconies were not like that. These balconies were beautiful balconies where peacocks would come, they would fly, they would come sit in the balconies. There were birds. I think they mentioned that birds like Chakravaka, Karandavaha, Sarasa, Hamsas, they were all flying, floating there, and they were coming, they were sitting in the balcony, again going back to the gardens, to the rivers. And it is said that, from the balconies, you don't have to jump down. It was like, you can walk down from the balcony of these palaces. Walk down in the sense, it was like, the green, lush green grass was like, like in the form of a mountain, coming down from the balcony. So anybody could walk down. It was, see, we can only contemplate and imagine, how beautiful it is. I'm just trying to, present how beautiful it was. All this amazing palace, with the entire, even in, you don't hear these things even in the heavenly planets, because he surpassed the opulence of the demigods. That is how this palace was. Beautiful palace. So, all green lakes, all gardens, all these birds, bumblebees. There is a description of the palace where it is mentioned, there were 7 layers of bedrooms. That is what it says. 7 layers of bedrooms, deeper and deeper, and just like a maze, very complicated. So, and that is how he was, his entire aerial mansion, his Vimana was very beautiful. So you cannot carry gardens and beautiful, what do you call, uh, palace, palace gardens and everything else in the air across the universe. He went on a world. He didn't go on a world tour. Sorry, he went on a universal tour. We struggle if we have to go to if you have to go on world tour, you may end up spending maybe 10 lakhs or more, and we may not end up getting any prasadam, or you may not get a proper. You have to struggle a lot. Not easy. Nobody gives anything free. We have to end up spending money for travel, accommodation, food, and everything else. But this was all free. He didn't spend any money here. He just used his yogic power. Hmm? Free travel, a beautiful aerial mansion, and it's flying in the sky. No accommodation needed, all taken care. No travel expenses, nothing, and world tour. And wherever they wanted to, they could go. Our planes are not like that. If you have to travel from here to America, let's say, 20 more than 24 hours journey, you can't sit. You cannot continuously sit. You're so crammed. You'll generally see people standing in the pathway. They'll stand because they can't sit continuously. And they're standing, they're walking up and down. They're unable to sit for a long time. And it smells, over a period of few hours, it starts smelling. The same air circulation may be happening, but it is the same air which is moving around. All people, passing gas, and it is the same air which is circulating within that plane, and we're just breathing that. It is sick. We don't realize, but it is sick. They may use some fragrance, but it is the same dirty air. That is how it is. And then there's no ventilation, obviously, and people are drunk. They don't know what to do. They're drunk. They're miserable, and that's how it is. And there is so much of air pressure in the heights that a person cannot even pass stool in the aeroplane. So this is a situation. It's a horrible flight. In this world, our flights are horrible. It is as good as hell. But that was not the case with Kardam Muni's aeroplane. It was not like that. Amazing, beautiful. The whole palace is moving around in the entire universe. Wherever they wanted to, they could go. Devahuti wanted to see, the Sumeru mountain. He would take her there. Nandan Kanan gardens of the heavenly planets. He would go there. Then Gandhamadhan mountain, or Ilavrata Varsha, or other different Varshas, or these different islands like Jambudvip, Lakshadvip, Shalmalidvip, Kushadvip, Kraunchadvip, Shakhadvip, Pushkaradvip. He covered all of that. Then he went to the Loka Mountains, which is actually covering just blocking the sunlight from going outside. Then they could go to the upper heavenly planets, Indraloka, Chandraloka, Dhruvaloka, Saptarishi planets, like that, what is that? Janaloka, Maharloka, Tapaloka, Siddhaloka, Brahmaloka, everywhere. So all the different places, they could travel. The entire universe could be seen by Kardama and Devahuti. That is how, their plane was. Amazing. Nobody can create this. No yoga, no yogic, no yogi has ever created, that kind of a plane. We hear in Dwarka, this Shalva had created one. He was a demon worshipper of Lord Shiva. He had created one aerial mansion, but that was not like this. Okay, it would disappear to some extent, but it was not as amazing as this one. And there are so many examples of other airplanes in the Shastras, but nothing as beautiful and as amazing as Barajishnuna as that of Kardama Muni. This is how he would travel across the entire universe. So he could attain all of this simply by his yogic power, and that yogic power was not a misuse of yogic power. Generally, what do we hear? If a yogi misuses his yogic powers, then he loses all power. He becomes weak, spiritually weak. That was not the case in case of Kardama Muni, because he was a devotee of the Lord. For a devotee of the Lord, nothing is impossible. All the dharma, artha, kama, the chatush purusharthas are easily available by the will of the Lord. The Lord wants to give it. And it was not for his own sense enjoyment. He actually created this for the pleasure of his wife because she had served him. So as a reciprocation to please her, he had created this aerial mansion and he and he took her around just to please her. So that was not a misuse of his yogic power. So we should understand that also, because he was a liberated soul and it was done because out of service to his wife and not because he wanted to enjoy his yogic power to show superiority or to control somebody. In which case, that would be actually misuse of the yogic power, which he never did. So this is how we traveled, all across, and just like air. Okay, we'll go to the next
Hare
one.
Krishna Prabhuji. Can you kindly give me the shloka reference of this Neyat Karma, the shloka?
It's in Bhagavatam. Let me search, Mataji. It is there in the Devahuti and Kardama Muni chapter only. Hold on. And
I found it, Prabhuji. Text 56.
same chapter?
Yeah.
Oh,
Canto
great.
3, 323, 56.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Just
you,
about
Prabhuji.
I was about to say.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, sorry, my place, the power is gone. So I am unable to share the screen from my mobile, Prabhuji.
Okay. Fine,
Oh,
Mataji.
it has just come, Prabhuji. I'll just try it again.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
has just come. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. 323:56. This is there. Correct. Okay, so I will go to the next verse number 42. Kim durapadanam tesham pumsam uddama chetasam yairashritas tirtapadash charano vyasanantyayah. Kim durapadanam tesham pumsam uddama chetasam yairashritas tirtapadash charano vyasanantyayah. Okay, anybody would like to read? translation and purport?
I read,
Hari
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Only translation, Prabhu. Translation.
Translation.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What is difficult to achieve for determined men who have taken refuge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's lotus feet? His feet are the sources of sacred rivers like the Ganges, which put an end to the dangers of mundane life.
Yeah. Someone can read the purport also.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The words Ye Ashritas Tirthapadas Charana are significant here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Tirthapada. The Ganges is called a sacred river because it emanates from the toe of Vishnu. The Ganges is meant to eradicate all the material distresses of the conditioned souls. For any living entity, therefore, who has taken shelter of the holy lotus feet of the Lord, nothing is impossible. Kardama Muni is special not because he was a great mystic, but because he was a great devotee. Therefore, it is said here that for a great devotee like Kardama Muni, nothing is impossible. Although yogis can perform wonderful feats as Kardama has already displayed, Kardama was more than a yogi because he was a great devotee of the Lord. Therefore, he was more glorious than an ordinary yogi. As it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, out of the many yogis, he who is a devotee of the Lord is first class. For a person like Kardama Muni, there is no question of being conditioned. He was already a liberated soul and better than the demigods who are also conditioned. Although he was enjoying with his wife and many other women, he was above material, conditional life. Therefore, the word Vyasanatyaya is used to indicate that he was beyond the position of a conditioned soul. He was transcendental to all material limitations. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Kim Durapadanam Tesham Pumsam Uddam Chetasam. So, those who are fixed up in devotional service, Kim Durapadanam. What is difficult for them to achieve? Yairashratas Tirthapadas Charano Vyasanantyayaha. The one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and rendering devotional service. What is impossible? Nothing is impossible for them. But the thing is, you should have taken ashraya, complete shelter, which means complete surrender. Then Vyasanantyayaha. Then, there's no question of fear or danger or anything. They are beyond all of that. So that way, a pure devotee can easily attain, anything that he wants in this material world. Although not out of sense enjoyment, but out of love for his devotees, the Lord, blesses them with everything. So they can attain anything in dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, just because they have taken their shelter. So same way in Bhagavatam also elsewhere it is mentioned, Yatpada samshraya suta munaya prashamayana sadhya punanti upasprishthas svardhunyapo anusevaya. It means Yatpada samshraya suta. Those who have taken shelter of pure devotees, munaya prashamayana, who are completely satisfied, shamana, prashamayana, shamana. And then Sadhya punanti upasprishthas svardhunyapanu sevaya. They immediately get purified. Whereas by taking shelter of Ganges, Svardhuni means Ganges, who is coming from the heavenly planets. Anusevaya, by serving Mother Ganges for a long time, one gets purified. But by taking shelter of a pure devotee and taking shelter of devotional service of the Supreme Lord, one gets easily purified of his anarthas, and then he is properly situated and he can attain anything in this world. So that is why, for all reasons, whether it is material or spiritual, one should take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Elsewhere also, there's one very beautiful statement. Sridhar Swami says this. It says, Tvat kathamritam patodau viharanto mahamudaha kurvanti kritina keche chaturvargam trinopamam. The meaning of that is, Tvat kathamritam patodau. Anybody who takes the shelter of the nectarian pastimes of the Supreme Lord, who is Viharanto Mahamudaha. That means Vihar, he is relishing it, he is enjoying it, he is, able to, relish it to the fullest extent, who cannot live without that, Tvat kathamritam patodo. Then what happens to him? It is said, Kurvanti kritinah kechet chaturvargam trinopamam. The chaturvarga, that is dharma, artha, kama, moksha, it becomes trinopamam. Trinopamam means as insignificant as a blade of grass. They don't care for it. They are completely situated in the transcendental messages of the Supreme Lord. They're so blissfully situated that they are not disturbed at all. And they don't care for dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The chaturvargam becomes trinopamam, like a blade of grass. But still, although they don't care, the Lord forcibly gives them all the happiness. That is why the Lord forcibly gives them artha, kama, moksha, everything. And that is how, Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, they did not run away from wealth. They accepted it as a blessing of the Supreme Lord and they enjoyed it. But when the time came to give it up, they just give it up like stool and they walked away into the forest. That is why they are known as Raja Rishis. So this is how, there's nothing wrong in accepting wealth which comes of its own accord, not by working hard day and midnight and all that, not like that, which automatically comes of its own accord because of our dharma. When that wealth comes, that can easily be accepted and it can be engaged in the service of the Lord and his devotees. So that has been, enunciated here very beautifully. How Kardama Muni was a devotee who actually attained artha and kama, everything automatically because out of his sheer position of being a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, as Prabhupada mentions here in the purport, that of all the yogis, Gnani, Dhyani, whoever he may be, but the best yogi is yoginam api sarvesham adgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yumam same yukta tamo mataha. Those who are doing my bhajan, those who are bhakti yogis, they are the best of all yogis and they are the ones who attain everything by the mercy of the Lord. So there's no doubt about it. And they do not have any trouble. They are not able to relate with any trouble. They're completely blissful. Okay, we'll go to the 43. We're quickly running out of time. So, Prekshayitva.
Hare Krishna. Sorry,
Yeah. Prekshayitva bhuvo golam patnyai yavan swasamsthaya bhavascharya mahayogi swashramaya anyavartata. Okay. Translation purport, someone can read.
Padma Mataji, you can read the translation,
Yeah.
and Prashanti Mataji, you can read the purport. Prabhuji, we want to read the purport is long.
We
Whatever you
can,
say, Prabhu.
we can quickly read. I don't have anything to explain. You can just read for your understanding. Yeah.
Hare
Otherwise, two
Krishna.
people also can
Prashanti
read.
Mataji. Yeah, Prashanti Mataji, you read the first paragraph and Shanti Mataji the second paragraph. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna, translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After showing his wife the globe of the universe and his different arrangements full of many wonders, the great yogi Kardama Muni returned to his own hermitage. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the planets are here described as Gola, round. Every planet is round and each planet is a different shelter. Just like islands in the great ocean, planets are sometimes called Dvipa or Varsha. This Earth planet is called Bharatavarsha because it was ruled by King Bharata. Another significant word used in this verse is Bhav Ascharyam, many wonderful things. This indicates that the different planets are distributed all over the universe in the 8 directions, and each and every one of them is wonderful in itself. Each planet has its particular climatic influences and particular types of inhabitants and is completely equipped with everything, including the beauty of the seasons. In the Brahma Samhita 5.40, it is similarly stated, Vibhuti Bhinnam. On each and every planet, there are different opulences. It can be expected that one planet is exactly like another. By God's grace, by nature's law, each and every planet is made differently and has different wonderful features. All such wonders were personally experienced by Kardama Muni while he traveled with his wife, that he could return again to his humble hermitage. He showed his princess wife that although he was living in the hermitage, he had the power to go everywhere and do anything by mystic yoga. This is the perfection of yoga. One cannot become a perfect yogi simply by showing some sitting postures, nor by such sitting postures or so-called meditation can one become God, as is being advertised. Foolish persons are misled into believing that simply by some caricature of meditation and sitting postures one can become God within 6 months. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Pranams.
So it's okay. We can skip the second paragraph. It's about, example of the perfect yogi, how he travels, just like Durvasa Muni also traveled. So this is possible by, great liberated souls. So he took his wife around across the entire universe. As I was earlier telling, he went through Bhurloka, Bhorloka, Swarloka, all the lower planetary systems like Bilaswarga, all Bilaswargas are lower planetary systems, like Atala, Sutala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Taltala, Mahatal, Rasatal, Patal, and, the entire, Jambudvipa planet and all the other, islands, they are considered as islands across, 7 islands of Jambudvipa, Plakshadvipa, Chalmali, Kusha, Krauncha, all these. So he took her everywhere. And here Prabhupada mentions sometimes the planets are called as Dvipa. Dvipa means there is water on both the sides. Dvi means 2 and Pa means water. So how come, there is water only on 2 sides? Sometimes we see water on 4 sides, right? So no, it is not like that. From the angle, from the vision of the Bhumandala, which is there in the 5th canto, from the perspective of the Bhumandala is flat and there is water on both the sides, because each of these, dvipas, Jambudvipa, Plaksha, Krauncha, Kusha, all of these, they're covered by, concentric circle waters. And then there is the upper direction and the lower direction. So the east and the west is covered by water, whereas the north is in the upper planetary system, the south is in the lower planetary systems towards Yamaloka. So that's why, these planets are all called as Dvipas, sometimes Varshas also. So that explanation is given. Even an elephant is also called as Dvipa because it drinks twice. That is why Dvi means 2 and Pa means water. Because once it takes the trunk, another time it puts it in its mouth. So that way it is known as Dvipa. So elephant is also called as a Dvipa. Like a bird is called as Dvija. A Brahmana is also called as Dvija. Sanskrit is amazing. But a bird is also called as Dvija. A Brahmana takes birth the second time. Similarly, a bird also takes birth 2 times. One from the body of the mother and the second from the egg. So that is why it is Dvija. So the bird is also called as Dvija. So that way, Sanskrit is very beautiful. It is on the basis of verbs, different names have been coined. So it's an amazing, a universal tour that, he takes Devahuti all around the universe. We'll go to the next one. We'll quickly read both 44 and 45 together.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Anita Mataji, after Prabhuji finishes the shloka, you do the translation, and now Kishori Mataji, the purport. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Vibhajyanavadhatmanam manavim suratotsukham Ramam Niramayan Reme Varshapugan Muhurtavat. Yeah, someone can read.
Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. After coming back to his hermitage, he divided himself into 9 personalities just to give pleasure to Devahuti, the daughter of Manu, who was eager for life. In that way, he enjoyed with her for many, many years, which passed just like a moment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He is the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. Devahuti is described as Suratotuska, after traveling with her husband all over the universe in Mount Meru and the beautiful gardens of the heavenly kingdoms, she naturally became sexually stimulated, and in order to satisfy her sexual desire, Kardama Muni expanded himself into 9 forms instead of one. He became 9, and 9 persons has had sexual intercourse with her Devahuti for many years. It is understood that the sexual appetite of a woman is 9 times greater than that of a man. That is clearly indicated here. Otherwise, Kardama Muni would have had no reason to expand himself into 9. Here is another example of yogic power, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead can expand himself in a millions of forms. A yogi can also expand up to 9 forms, but not more than that. Another example is that of Shaubari Muni. He also expanded himself into 8 forms. But however, a powerful yogi may be, he cannot expand himself into more than 8 or 9 forms. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, can expand himself into millions of forms. Ananta Rupa, innumerable, countless forms. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, no one can compare to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by any conceivable energetic manifestation of power. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam. Thank you.
And Mataji, we'll go to the 45. Tasmin vimana utkrishtham shayyam radikarim shrita na ja buddhyata tam kalam patya pichyena sangata.
Hare Krishna. Krishnamurti Prabhuji, you can read the translation in the purport both. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. In the aerial mansion, Devahuti, in the company of her husband, handsome husband, situated on an excellent bed that increased sexual desires, could not realize how much time he was passing. Purport A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Sex intelligence is so enjoyable for materialistic people that when they engage in such activities, they forget how time is passing. Saint Kardama and Devahuti, in their sexual indulgence, also forget how time was passing by. Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat. Thank you, Prabhu and Mataji. So, this 44 and 45 verse is very important for us to understand. Just in the previous verse, we read, text, I think 43, that Kardama Muni is being referred to as a liberated soul. He is a liberated soul. He is fully engaged in devotional service. He was beyond conditional life. But apparently it looks like in these 2 verses, it is looking as if, he is just behaving like a materialistic person. But no, it is not so. So that is why Bhagavatam has to be understood from Guru Parampara. It has to be understood from Vaishnava Acharyas. It's very important. Or else we can simply misunderstand Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam cannot be understood by ordinary brain. So, in the purport, Prabhupada has given that a woman's appetite is 9 times more. That is how it is. So, this cannot be misunderstood. So, we have to understand from a human psychology also. If anybody understands human psychology also, a woman by nature, a jiva who is embodied in the body of a woman. We are not man or woman. We are all jivatmas. We have to understand that. So when a jiva is embodied inside the body of a woman, the woman has, generally she is more compassionate. Compassionate means more materially compassionate. She is more emotional. She is more, affection seeking. And she is more materialistic. A materialistic woman is more materialistic than a man. She is more, like attention seeker. She's an attention seeker or affection or emotional. From that sense, she is actually 9 times more, more sexual in comparison to the man. This is how we have to understand. A woman is not, inclined towards the physical act. If anybody knows psychology, whoever is there in Grihastha ashram, you can simply understand very clearly. Women by nature is never eager, not inclined towards the physical act, but they are more, they are more happy simply by cuddling or simply by embracing, because they're just happy, because they are more emotional, more affectionate, more compassionate. That is how their nature is. But a man is not like that. Man is, in fact, really, in the real term of the physical act, he is actually more lusty than a woman. That is how it is. So this is how we have to understand. It is not like, what Prabhupada has mentioned here in the purport. Yes, Prabhupada has made a statement like this. But from a psychological perspective, we have to understand what is the nature of a man and a woman. That is how we have to understand. And another thing, very important thing here we have to mind, that Devahuti and Kardama Muni, they were engaged in the sexual act. There's nothing wrong because they are grihasthas. So it is a duty of the grihastha ashram. It is actually a religious duty. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also, Kamosmi Bharatarshabha. So there is nothing wrong in it. But the only thing is we are confused why it is mentioned that, he's a liberated soul, and how is it that, for years and years, he was enjoying. This confusion is there. So now let's understand, what actually went through between them. So I have some notes here. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. So, it is mentioned, in Grihastha ashram, there is a shastra. It is called as Kritya Kalpataru. In the Kritya Kalpataru, it is mentioned, Tacha Brahmacharyam Chaturvidham Bhavati. There are 4 types of Grihastha Brahmacharis. Tacha Brahmacharyam Chaturvidham Bhavati. Who are those 4? Tatra Paradara Varjanaha Nityam. So Swa Darabhigamanam Krishnam. There is one person who is called as Swadarabhigamanam Krishnam, who approaches only his wife. He is known as a Krishna Varna Brahmachari. He is a Grihastha Brahmachari, but he is a Krishna Varna who always approaches his wife. Then there is a second type who is known as Parvaniyama Varjanam Raktam. So Parva Niyama Varjanam Raktam means he is the second type of brahmachari where there are different parvas. What are the different parvas? The appearance days of the acharyas, disappearance days of the acharyas, the appearance days of the Supreme Lord, or the holy days of Ekadasi, Dwadasi, Purnima, Amavasya. These are all known as Parva. That person who follows the Parva Niyama Varjanam Raktam, that person who avoids all the holy days in a month and engages in the physical act with his wife, he is known as a Rakta Varnam. He is also Grihastha Brahmachari. The first one does not avoid the Parva Niyama. He doesn't care what day it is. He simply indulges in the physical act with his spouse. So that is known as the Krishna Varnam, the first one. The second one is he is a Parva Niyama. He follows all the holy days, he avoids. So both of them are Grihastha Brahmacharis. And there is a third one. It is said, Ritu Kalabhigamanam Shuklam. That person who approaches his spouse only on Ritu. Ritu means, after their monthly cycles, after 5-6 days, when a person approaches his spouse, that person is known as Shuklam. And let me mind, all of them are with the intention of creating progeny, not for sense enjoyment. And the last varna, the last person is Urdhvareta Savam Bimalam. Although he is there in the Grihastha ashram, he is Urdhvareta Savaha. That means he does not engage in any physical act. So that person is known as Vimalam. He doesn't care. Although he is there, both husband and wife in the Grihastha ashram, they never touch each other. They are simply together engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. These are the 4 types of Grihastha Brahmacharis who are there. So this is very clear. Now, this Kritya Kalpataru Shastra, it also further tells what is the destination of each one of them. The destination of each one of them is Krishnenamam Jayet Lokan Madhyamam Raktena Vai Jayet Shuklena Tu Jayet Swargam Vimalam Moksham Apnuyat. That person who is a Krishna Varga Grihastha Brahmachari, he attains this world. That means he continues to come back and stay in the earthly planet. That is his result. The second, the Madhyama Raktena Vai Jayet, the Rakta Varna, the one who was following the process of, Parva Niyama, avoiding all the holy days. That person, he attains the Bhaumas Swarga. Bhaumas Swarga is that region which is between the original Swarga and the Bila Swarga. That is, around the Jambudvipa, we have all these Varshas, right? Like we have Bharat Varsha, we have Ketumala Varsha, we have Kimpurusha Varsha, we have Hari Varsha, we have Ilavrata Varsha. 9 Varshas are there. These are all known as Bhaumas Swarga. His destination will be Bhaumas Swarga. Who? The second guy. One who is a Krishna Grihastha Brahmachari. The third Varna, who is actually, the Shukla, the Shukla Varna. The Shukla Varna person, he attains the Swarga. Shuklena tu Jayet Swargam. He goes to the heavenly planets. One who approaches his wife only after the, the monthly cycles, after certain 5 or 6 days. But if the after 5 or 6 days, if the day is falling on a holy day, he completely avoids that day also. So that is how it is. So that kind of a person, he attains heavenly planet. But someone who is completely Vimalam, Urdhvaretasaha Vimalam, he attains the spiritual world. He goes to the spiritual world. So now it is up to us where we want to go. That is why, all the Vaishnava Acharyas have stressed, how not to be bound in this material world, how to be completely freed. So that now looking at the position of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, they did not act like materialistic people. We have to understand this. It is in the if we carefully read the purports and the translations, it will be amazing. It is actually contradictory and it is also amazing. If you look at verse number 45 and 46, which is, coming ahead, it is said that they were engaged for a very long time, very, very long time. And then, the time passed away. For several years, they were actually engaged in sexual activity and several years passed away. This is what verse number 45 and 46 tells us. But if you look at 47, it's completely contradictory, because 47 says that the purport says that since Kardama Muni could understand that Devahuti wanted many children, at the first chance, he begot 9 children at one time. At the first chance, it is said that he begot 9 children at one time. It means Kardama Muni impregnated Devahuti only once. Out of several hundreds of years, he impregnated Devahuti only once. That was in the end. And that is how they begot 9 children. That is how it is. And these 9 children, and what is the proof? The proof is that as soon as the children were born, all the 9 daughters were born, it is said that he started walking out of his home without any attachment to the children or to his wife. He wanted to go, give up, take back to his meditation. He was walking out and Devahuti starts crying. She says, who will take care of me? I don't have a son. I have only daughters. That is when, Kardama again thinks, oh, yeah, someone, women cannot be independent. So I have to provide a son. Then he stays back for a few more 1 or 2 years and then he provides her a son and then he walks out. He doesn't wait, even before the son, when the daughters were born, he doesn't wait to take care of them. He just wants to walk out. That is a proof that he was never attached. If somebody was sexually attached to his spouse, it is impossible that he can go out of his house. He will become more and more and more spiritually weak, and he can never go out of his house. Because pumsa striya maithuni bhavametam tayor mito hridaya granthi mahuhu. Ata griha kshetra sut apta vittar janasya mohoya maham mameti. We will be stuck in a maha mohajal, and then it is impossible for a person to come out of his household life. But that was not the case of Kardama Muni. This is a proof that he was actually, when it is mentioned, when the verse 44, 45 and 46 is talking about they engaged in sexual activity for several years, it means not the physical act. It was a romantic relationship. That is how we have to understand. The proof is the Shastra gives us the example. It says clearly, it very clearly tells us that karmana manasa vacha sarvavastu sarvada sarvatra maithuna tyago brahmacharyam pratakshate. There is three types of maithuna. One is karmana, by act, by the physical act. Second is manasa. Third is vacha, by words and also by mind. So Kardama and Devahuti engaged in words and mind romantically for several hundreds of years in the aerial mansion. But the act of physical impregnation was only once at the end, because he could read her mind that she wanted children. That's how he impregnated her. And that's how, as soon as the children were born, when they were babies, very same day, he wanted to walk out. That shows he was never attached. He was not engaged in, sexual activity like the way we think. Because Shastra says sexual activity in Sanskrit means on the platform of mind, words, and also physical. That's how it is. So this is how we have to understand. It's very clear. That is why we have to understand this from the Guru Parampara perspective, or else we will never get it. We will be wondering, oh my God, he is a liberated soul, but day and night he's engaging every day for several hundreds of years, and they didn't know, how the time was passing away. Okay, even the liberated soul can do, then there is nothing wrong. We also can be, similarly engaged. This is how a person may think, but wrong. That's how we have to understand it. So I would like to end here. Thank you very much. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If anybody has any questions, they can ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you for the clarification also. Devotees, anybody wants to ask questions? Padma Mataji, your hand is raised. You wish to ask a question?
Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
What's the difference between surrender and complete surrender?
Surrender has the 6 symptoms, Mataji. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshishriti vishwaso, goptritva varnam tata, atmanikshepaka karpanye, shadvidha sharanagati. What is favorable for my Krishna consciousness, I will accept it. What is unfavorable for my Krishna consciousness, I will reject it. Then having complete faith that the Lord is the only protector. And the fourth one is, Lord is the real maintainer and not my money, my job, or my house. And fifth one is surrender to the Supreme Lord. And the sixth one is humility. Without humility, we cannot practice any of these other 5. So all together, all these 6 are the symptoms of surrender. Anybody who has these 6 symptoms, they are actually surrendered.
Then complete surrender is also same thing?
It is. I'm talking about complete surrender only.
Yeah, okay.
There is no partial. I've never heard about any partial surrender. Partial surrender comes under the purview of sadhana bhakti, where we still have some anartha, some hankerings, some material desires, but still we are we are favorably inclined towards Krishna consciousness. We are engaged in bhakti, so that is partial surrender.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Has anybody else got any questions?
Well, Prabhuji, one more question.
Yes,
when he got these 9 daughters, the Kardama Muni's wife, when she delivered 9 daughters, as per the scriptures, the father has a duty, to take care. Can you just elaborate on that, Prabhuji? Because even tell anybody, they'll ask these questions.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to know.
Correct. So the father was very, very, renounced That was a problem. The father was so renounced that he wanted to walk away. And then it took his wife to remind him, my dear sir, you can't simply walk away just like that. There's no protector for your daughters and for your wife. You have to provide a son or you have to stay back yourself. Then Kardama stayed back, provided her a son, and then he left. So he did that duty. So Prabhupada also, he had couple of daughters who were not married, and he left that responsibility with his son to take care of the marriage of the other two daughters which he had. There are many stories like that. Sridhar Swami also, when his child had a small baby, he wanted to take sannyas. Everybody was cursing him, you're so degraded. It is your duty as a grahastha to take care of your child and your wife. How can you walk out? Then he was in confusion. He didn't know what to do. Then he saw one lizard fall from the wall, a small baby lizard. Sorry, I think, when one lizard was there behind the wall or something like that. And then he could see that uh, the lizard also somehow it was able to get its food. Although it was a baby lizard, the Lord was providing food for the baby lizard, although it was not with its mother. Sridhar Swami took a clue from this. Oh, I am not the protector of my child or my wife. It is up to the Lord, because I am going to engage in the higher dharma. There is a higher principle of taking sannyas dharma for, doing welfare activity, for the highest welfare activity for the entire society. So there is nothing wrong in terms of taking sannyas. So that way, Sridhar Swami actually went out and, he took sannyas. So when we go out for a higher cause, Janasya Krishna Vimukhasya Daivad Adharma Shilasya Sudukkitasya Anugrahaye Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardhanasya. The great souls wander around the earth to deliver them. So when they have dependents, when they give them up to take to sannyas, to go preach the message of Godhead, there is no sin involved in it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave up his wife and mother. Sridhar Swami gave up his wife and child. Raghavendra Swami gave up his wife. Ramanujacharya gave up his wife. So some had children also, some had only wives. But all the sannyasis, they gave up their family and they took sannyas. Prabhupada, in fact, he I should not use this word, but I'm a little, transcendentally trying to use it. He forced couple of his disciples, into taking sannyas, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, to give up their family life and take sannyas. It is not that they came and directly took sannyas. Prabhupada told them, take sannyas, because it is important for the preaching movement. So we cannot blame anybody, because taking sannyas is the highest welfare activity, spiritual activity for the welfare of the society. So there is no sin involved in, giving up the family. I hope it answers, Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhu, but even the son was very small, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Sometimes we wonder, even the daughters were also very small.
True. I know. I understand. There's another example I want to share. This comes in the Shri Vaishnava. Anybody from Shri Vaishnava here in the group? So, in the Shri Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is this great soul called as Natha Muni. And Natha Muni and his son is there, called as Ishvara Muni. So Natha Muni, his wife, and his son Ishwar Muni and his daughter-in-law, son and daughter-in-law, he himself and his wife, they all go on Vrindavan Yatra. They go to Vrindavan Yatra, and because his daughter-in-law is pregnant, and then they take blessings of all the Vaishnavas there, they visit all the holy places, and then they come back. And after that, not they come back, but in Vrindavan, this Ishvara Muni, the son of Natha Muni, he passes away. He gives up his body because of something, And then he comes there. He is a great Vaishnava Acharya in Shri Vaishnava Sampradaya. So when he comes back, he is in great depression. He is in great depression because his son has passed away. He questions the Lord. He says, "Oh my Lord, what is this? What has happened? You have taken away my son. We came to Vrindavan to seek your blessing, and this is the way you have blessed me. You have taken away my son." And then what happens? Immediately after some time, his daughter-in-law gives birth to a baby, and then as soon as the child is born, he's a son, he's a grandson now. Immediately, Natha Muni takes sannyas. Now he leaves behind his wife, his daughter-in-law, and his grandson. And they are from the Brahmana family. From Brahmana family, they can't go outside work for their livelihood. The male Brahmana would go do some puja part and he would bring the dakshina. But now the women folk can't go outside the house to earn livelihood. But still Natha Muni, took sannyas, just because he came into detachment from this world because of the passing away of his son. That is a Vaishnava. Although it apparently looked like he was blaming the Lord, but no, he was actually able to appreciate the mercy of the Lord that he brought about that detachment in his heart. So, although there were no dependents for 2 women and a small baby in their house, he simply took sannyas and he walked away. Generally, what we think, he should now provide double care. He should be more double care. He should provide them. He should take care of them. This is how we would think. But no, because they were so much fixed up in devotional service, they knew that Krishna only is the real provider. It is not us. Somehow the arrangement will be done. Simply he walked out, took sannyas. Mahaprabhu also walked out. It is not that, Sachi Mata and Vishnu Priya went out begging for food. No. People brought food for them because that's how the Lord takes care. So this way, you see hundreds of examples like this. There's nothing.
The story which you told about this story about the Natha Muni, this happened in Kali Yuga,
Yeah, it happened in Kali Yuga in the 8th century. He was a saint. He's an acharya in the 8th century of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Okay, any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Could we do the prayers and end the session, Prabhu?
Sure, yes.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya
Sindhubhya
evacha
patitanam
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Namo
namo
Namah.
namah. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pranam Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
In the session, Prabhu.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.